In his State of the Union address, President Obama laid out his priorities for the year and held up Oklahoma as a model for early childhood education.
Make it a priority to educate our youngest children, like Georgia or Oklahoma. Studies show students grow up more likely to read and do math at grade level, graduate high school, hold a job, form more stable families of their own. We know this works. So let's do what works and make sure none of our children start the race of life already behind.
At the state capitol, lawmakers are meeting in committees, operating at a rapid pace as they sort through almost 2,500 bills and joint resolutions. I spoke with Shawn Ashley of eCapitol about what's going on at the Capitol. Shawn, there's a bill moving forward that would merge two state agencies. Tell us about that.
Yes, Senator Clark Jolly has a measure which would merge the Oklahoma Alcoholic Beverage Laws Law Enforcement Commission and the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. As he explained in the Senate Public Safety Committee earlier this week, that idea has been on the table for a while, and various efforts have been made to do so. But he thinks now he is on the right track toward a plan that would bring those two agencies together. What you would see is that that group that is currently the ABLE Commission would continue to be responsible for the alcoholic beverage laws, and they would also take over the prescription monitoring program. And the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, that division within this agency, would remain focused on narcotics and dangerous drugs as well as human trafficking.
There are also a few anti-abortion bills.
Yes, this last week in the House Public Health Committee, 3 measures were approved there. A large focus of these are the reporting requirements associated with abortions. A great deal of information has to be collected already. This requires more information from the provider as well as from the patient. One of them also includes language, again, allowing the mother, if she so desires, to hear the fetal heartbeat.
Will those be constitutional? Has there been talk about that?
Well, that's an interesting question. House Speaker T.W. Shannon said prior to the start of the legislative session that he did not want to see the legislature use its time on measures that were going to be challenged, in part because of the amount of time involved, also because of the cost associated with that. So either he feels like House staff has reviewed these bills and they're good to go, or they will at least be reviewed for their possible constitutional implications before and if they go to the floor.
Another interesting bill would have allowed nonviolent offenders to own guns.
Yes, and this is one of those bills that's quite interesting to those of us who watch these things carefully, because the key issue is, what is a nonviolent offender? We think of a nonviolent offender as maybe someone who wrote a hot check or something like that, but it also includes things like quite serious drug offenses. It can also include some physical offenses, the less violent forms of assault and battery and things of that nature, for example. When the author of that bill was made aware of the situation and the issue was discussed in committee, they thought it better to take that bill back and work on it a bit more and tighten up those definitions.
A lot of eyes will be on the State Board of Equalization on Tuesday.
That's right. They meet Tuesday and they will give us the final revenue number for the upcoming fiscal year, and what that will tell us is how much additional money the legislature and the governor have to spend as they write the next fiscal year's budget.
And we'll all be watching that.
Most
Shawn
certainly.
Ashley from eCapitol, thank you for joining us.
Very glad to.